Hey all, welcome to Parker's Reefs. In today's episode we're going to cut some live corals with my inland frag saw and stick them down on my custom made Parker's Reef frag tiles. Alright, thank you for joining me on another episode of Parker's Reefs, and regular viewers of the channel will remember the other day I did a video of an unboxing and I guess a type of review on the inland frag saw, and just to get my bearings of the machine I cut up some dead Acropora skeletons just to make sure that it was working as it should and to make sure I had a good handle on the machine. Now, after that video I had a number of requests to say, show us cutting up some live corals, so I figured today was the day. I got these brand new custom made Parker's Reef frag tiles made, and they're here. They've been soaking in my sump for some time. I like to soak them in the sump just to get them ready for coral fragging, and it seemed like the perfect opportunity to just run through the process and take you along for the ride. So before we jump in and grab the corals out, I'll just run you through all of the equipment I've got on the table here, then we'll get cutting. Obviously, first and foremost, we've got my inland frag saw there, and I've got the drain line hooked up to a bucket down there, so it'll catch all of that sort of murky water the corals get cut in. I've got a nice bath here where the corals have just got salt water, so the corals will sit in there. That's just to keep them obviously wet and ready to go, but there's no dip or anything in that one at all. This bath over here, I will put some Revive coral dip in, and that's to help them heal. You'll note I've got the Red Sea Dip X, that new dip there as well. I'm not actually using that in today's video, but I do have a video on that coming soon. I don't use that to heal up fragged corals so much. I find the Revive better for that, but the Dip X I will cover in a video very soon. So the Revive will go on this one, and that's where I'll put the cut pieces after they've been fragged, so they get a little bit of dip there just to help them heal up. I've got my brand new, very fancy, customized Parker's Reef frag tiles here. Got them all set out. These do come from my sump. I keep them in there so that they're exposed to water. They get all of the oxygen that gets trapped inside the ceramics all bled out so that they're ready to go. Otherwise, I find if you try to glue corals onto a dry frag tile that has not been in water before, that the glue can actually bubble up and can dislodge your corals. So I've got those on there. I've got my Fragmate little tray here, which is awesome. It's got fold out legs I can lift up if need be, but I just find that really easy to sit the tiles on and glue. Holds them in place, as you can see, so you can then just go to town. I've got a little turkey baster and a towel here. The turkey baster will be mostly used in the dip bath there, just to ensure that the water's circulated around the corals nicely. A towel's always handy because you know, you just might want to wipe your hands or something like that. Over the back here, I've got my safety glasses because even though I've already got glasses, it's always good to cover your eyes. Last thing you want to do is lose any vision. I've got my Dremel battery operated saw with the diamond wheel there. This is what I was going to build a little custom fragging setup out of. You can see I've got a little 3D printed mount for it there, which I was going to then mount up to a table. Huge shout out to Jeremy Sim for printing that for me, but that's kind of become plan B at the moment. That's being battery operated. I can take that with me. I actually keep it in the car. Should I go to a fish shop and I want to frag something on the fly, I can cut it nice and cleanly where I am. But from there, I've got my Atlantis glue. This is a new glue that's been made in Australia. I've been using that recently. Well, I should say it's sourced in Australia. I've been using that recently, and it's really good. What I like about it is it doesn't glue the lid shut. I don't know how. I've tried squishing the glue out and covering the lid in glue, and give it a week or two, and then I can just open it up and it's ready to squirt back on the tiles again. So that's freaking awesome. And then I've got my Instaset with a little pipette down here that I just use to instantly set the glue and the corals once they're on the tiles there, which is such a cool little thing. In my testing so far, that's been completely coral safe. I haven't lost a single coral from the Instaset, I should say. And then from there, I've got just some tongs just so I don't have to handle the corals if I don't want to. Normally I don't mind so much, but if there's something I'm trying to pick off, I've got my tongs there. Then I've got a little RO jug here just to keep my reservoir in the inland saw topped off, ready to go. I've got the power on a little extension over there just to keep it well away from the saw itself, and I think we're pretty well ready to go. I'll go grab the two pieces I'm fragging up today, just a little Favia and a Monty. I'll whack them in this one here. We'll prepare the dip bath ready to go. Then we'll cut them up. We'll whack them back in the healing bath from there, give them their time. I'll get the glue on the tiles ready to go, sit them on there, put the Instaset on, and then I'll go put them back into the frag tank from there. So let's jump into it. All right, now that we've gone through all the gear and I've got my corals out here in the new saltwater bath, it's time to prepare all the items ready for cutting. So first things first, I'm going to prepare up this bath here of saltwater, which needs its dip in there. So we've got the Revive here, and it's going to give that a bit of a shake. Now this is 1 capful per litre, which means I need 1.5 capfuls in here. There's 1. There's a half. All right, so I'll just give that a little swoosh about with turkey baster. I don't want to spill the water everywhere though, so. All right, that bath should be good to go. Now, as I mentioned earlier, I do have the Red Sea Dip X here, which is what I dip the corals when they come into the facility, not necessarily when they've been fragged. So these pieces got the Red Sea Dip X before they went into my frag tank, and I will do a video on that one soon. But the Revive is what I use for healing up the corals. Now, I'm not expecting to need this, the Dremel, but it is handy to have on hand just in case. The Instaset we won't need for a minute. The safety glasses I'll need to go over the top of my normal glasses along with my apron. I've got my RO here, which I need to fill up my reservoir with. Yep, reservoir is full. My glue I'll set aside. I won't need the Instaset pipette yet. I've got the drain there ready. We're good to go. I'm just going to move that aside because I don't need the tiles just yet, and I will need easy access to my dip water. It's time to start cutting. So first of all, I need to just get the drip rate going on my inland saw, power him up, and cut away. On a piece this size, I probably want to make about 6 frags. Just going to turn the drip rate on the inland bandsaw up just to kind of flush the Monty Pourer slime out, make sure it's draining down into my bucket, which it is nicely. That'll just ensure it's all cleared out. I might even put the blade on for a second just to help swoosh that through. All right, the next piece I'm going to be cutting is this Favia. Now it's going to be a little bit more intricate than the Monty, which I just cut eventually into 9 pieces. This one I want to try and cut around a couple of the heads. So what I might do is I'll bring the camera in even closer so you can have a good look at the inland bandsaw making its way around each one of those heads. All right, now that my frags are all cut up, I've got the Favias down this end. You can see they're sliming up nicely where they were cut. The Monty Pourer up this end. I give them a little bit of a swoosh about just to help that that slime just make its way off the Favia, just because that might interfere with our gluing, and same with the Monty. It will also help dislodge any pests that are hiding inside the coral. These definitely look like they're coming up pretty clean though. It's just a bit of slime coming off them, which is, you know, pretty natural when you've just been sawn apart by a bandsaw. I'll give these the full, let's have a look, 15 minutes of the dip. While I'm doing that, I'll get all this other stuff out of the way and we'll get these frag tiles ready to stick them down. All right, the frags have now been in that bath for about 10 minutes, and every now and then I give them a little swoosh about just to ensure there's nothing I don't know, hiding in one of the crevices, and make sure that slime comes off the coral so it doesn't upset our gluing. But while that's got a minute or two to go, it's probably time to get our tiles ready for the glue. So I've got them on this little table here, which is super handy, and I'm going to grab my Atlantis glue. Now, this glue is being distributed by a hobbyist himself in Melbourne, and like I said, I've found it's been amazing. I'm going to open up a fresh tube. Here, you just squeeze that down, that should do the job. Now I can just squeeze perfect amount of glue on each one of these tiles. It's got a really fine little tip on it, which makes it pretty easy to get the glue exactly where you want it. And our tiles have all been pre-soaked and then dried just out here in the air, so that there's no issues with the glue attaching to them. Now that I've finished with the glue, I generally try to squeeze the glue just back in a little bit to get it to withdraw back in, but like I did touch on with this Atlantis glue, I haven't had any issues with the lid sticking on it, so should be pretty good. And the fact that the tip hasn't got wet means it's normally pretty sweet. Now, from here, I can use my tongs if I want to. I can pick the corals up. I tend to give them a little dab just on the towel there, and then I'll just sit him on there, and we'll get ready to insta-set him in. But let's get all these pieces on here. I just give it a little dab just to get any water that's sitting on the bottom of it off. And whack him on there. You don't have to be too firm squishing them down on the tiles because the insta-set's going to do all the work for us. The bandsaw let me really get pretty finely around some of the eyes on this Favia, which I'm hoping will give us a pretty good result, but time will tell. All right, now we're on to the Monty, which is super, super slimy. All right, now that we've got all of our frags on the tiles here, it's time for one of my favorite parts, and that is to bring out the insta-set. I like to use that with a little pipette here. Does not take a lot. I'll basically go around each tile, just putting a couple of drops on it. Where that hits the glue, it will create a fair bit of heat. So you want to be careful if you have any glue in your hands to just make sure you don't get any insta-set on there, because it will get hot pretty quickly. Now obviously I'm doing my best to avoid just pouring this straight onto the corals, but we're going to give it a little rinse back in that dip bath in a second anyway, so I wouldn't be too concerned. And like I said, I have found this stuff to be pretty safe with corals. All right, now that the insta-set has been applied to the glue, it should be instantly set, and you can see I can pick a tile up if I grab it by the stem. That coral is stuck. So what I'm going to do now is just sit that back in this bath here, give it the last couple of minutes of its dip, and ensure these corals don't dry out, and we can put them back in the frag tank. Just as one final step, you can see that the water from the glue and the insta-set gets pretty funky. So what I will do is give them a final little rinse off in the original clean salt water, and that's just going to ensure all of that funkiness stays in that dish and not on our frags. Alright guys, there you have it. That's my simple little video on doing some live coral cutting with the inland bandsaw, and also showing off my brand new custom frag tiles. Hopefully you'll be seeing some of these frags in the next 3, 4, maybe 6 weeks when these guys are fully healed up and then they're ready to go to their new homes. You will find them at Deer Park Aquarium. Other than that, if you've got any questions, comments, feedback, anything at all, please pop it in the comment section down below. I do personally reply to each and every comment there, so it is the best way to get hold of me. Other than that guys, till next time, stay safe, keep reefing. Bye.